He's there. Robotnik, smoke it.
So I've been hearing that there's been a bit of a issue with Sonic's design in the movie. Well, I don't think it's too bad. I mean, what's the worst that could...
Good old-fashioned nightmare fuel.
Before we begin this video, I want to ask you guys a question. Why do video game movies suck? And before you even answer, I'd like to point out that is a loaded question. And it's a question that gets asked all the time. But it's a question that's warped. A bad video game movie is bad for the same reason that are other bad movies. So the Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer dropped, and there's been a bit of a buzz about talking about the blue blur. And I figure, hey, let's talk about it for this video for a small little rant, shall we? Now, I'm sure there are plenty of people who are already assuming that I stand on this, and I think the movie is going to be garbage, especially with the design of Sonic out there.
The clowning has begun.
I'm under the belief that just because something looks bad, that doesn't mean it's going to be a mark of quality of a product.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Take the recent Star Wars, for example. The films look amazing, but looking at some of the big voices on the net, you'll get people either loving the recent films or hating their guts. Now, with Sonic, I'm honestly not expecting some deep, thrilling story. It's Sonic the Hedgehog, a series where you've got a blue hedgehog who eats chili dogs, collects rings, and fight a guy whose name is called Eggman. God, I miss Dr. Robotnik.
Consider yourself terminated, Hedgehog.
And remember that version of Sonic? You know, the dark 90s cartoon from Sad AM? This is why 90s kids are a thing. They got the good stuff before everything got too real. However, we look towards the past previous franchises, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers, and eventually soon Pokemon, the previous two being some of the most panned movies for going too real with their character designs. But hey, both of these films are by the same man known as Michael Bay, and last I checked, he isn't a part of this.
Basically, it looks like I'm gonna have to save your planet.
Although that line does make me get flashbacks. And remember back when the live-action TMNT movie was announced and the script was leaked, that one of the proposed plans was to make the Turtles aliens? Yeah, I can see how people would be a little bit on edge with that, especially with Sonic. Back to my point, no, this movie is being brought to you by people who made Jeff Fowler, who directed Go for Broke. Okay, I don't know what to expect from that. With screenplay writers who wrote Transylmania, The Cloverfield Paradox, and hey, stop stabbing me. Okay, so track record for the screenplay and the writers may not be the best, but hey, you've got to have hope, right? Right? Now you may be wondering, why do I think the movie is brilliant if I get on the design of the character as well as the track records of the minds behind it? Well, think of it like this. Have you ever seen anything like this before? This is the reason why I think it's brilliant, because people are talking about it. That's what Hollywood wants. They want people talking about the movie. There's a thing called, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Don't get me wrong, I don't like the actual movie design, but much like a pair of adults who have taken over YouTube, who shall not be named, the more you talk about a subject, the more eyes will be drawn up to it. We've seen this kind of thing before, time and time again. People talking about something will draw much more attention towards it, especially if it's something that people have or had a connection to, and Sonic is one of those connections. I mean, you got Sonic looking like some demented hedgehog clown, you got people claiming that the Sonic movie team is claiming people who use the trailer. I personally don't believe that it is the team, it's more likely the gritty corporate music folks who are doing it, all the while drawing more and more eyes to the subject matter. Now, the movie's gotten a massive amount of negative attention, and that's being talked about right now. Whether or not this will pay off for the movie is completely unknown at this point. I mean, with the way things have been going, especially with the uncanny valley that is Sonic the Hedgehog's eyes,
Stop looking into my soul!
There is a bit of hope for this movie, especially when the movie director has listened to the criticism and Jeff Fowler has said publicly that he has heard the criticism and has vowed to fix the design of Sonic. Someone better archive that, especially since there's only about 5 months to go between now and when the movie hits theaters. Now, there are a few things I do want to point out, things that need to be kind of baffling, and that's some of the criticisms that people have been giving the movie. Complaints about the military. Yeah, but it's not like we haven't seen Sonic up against human military before. Heck, that's kind of the key point in the beginning of Sonic Adventure 2, and that's a game that people really love. And I do understand that people are saying it's a bit generic of a plot, but for one thing, we're assuming quite a bit from just the trailer, and if they're changing the character design, there's no guarantee that the plot will remain the same either, especially when there's going to be a lot of different changes going on. Granted, I do understand I could be wrong, but then again, there's so many things that we don't know about at this point. So I'll reserve judgment when they reveal Sonic's redesign. As for Sonic having human companions, look, so long as we don't have a repeat of Sonic 06 with Sonic getting a kiss from a human girl, I'll be glad. Look, as far as bad Sonic material goes, considering all the flack that the Sonic franchise gets, considering that you've got people who will find anything to complain about with the franchise.
No,
What?
don't even say those games are good.
I like those
They're
games.
terrible.
I don't remember 2 as much, but 1 was good.
They're both awful.
No, they're not.
They're both awful.
Sonic Adventure is
They're
fucking
just like
great.
this. They're just like this.
No, they're not.
Considering you'll find people who complain anything about with the franchise, my point is, Sonic is something that gets a lot of hate. Some of it's justified, some of it's not so much. Like I say to everything when it comes to designs and such, you can critique the designs all you want. That's perfectly fair, and no one has the right to tell you otherwise. Although they sure as hell can call you out on it if you're spouting BS. And it's a good thing that the director has said he's listening to the criticism. All I say is, don't go into the movie expecting something like Avengers, especially when we have to consider that if they do change the design of Sonic, this will probably lead to a lot of animators and technical people working extremely hard to meet the 5-month deadline within the series of crunch, which is something that has been actually a bit controversial in the world of gaming as of late. It's something that should be taken into consideration as well. Video game movies don't have a good track record when it comes to quality. That isn't to say that it's impossible to make a good video game-based movie, despite what some people like to say.
Video game films are never going to be great as a general rule because video games are not designed to tell stories. They're designed to be great games.
Most video game movies literally just adapt the plot of the game.
Warning! Warning! Bullshitter alert!
They just need to be in the hands of the right people. I don't know about you, but I think the people who wrote such classics as, "Hey, stop stabbing me," might not be the right people for this kind of movie. Basically, this was a happy little incident that the movie got a lot more attention than it should have gotten, and if the movie sucks, well, I won't be surprised. I'll probably still go see it though, just to have a laugh. One thing I do hope is that they do change the music. Sorry, but when I think Sonic, I don't think Gangster Paradise is an actual fit for the Sonic franchise. Despite anything, Sonic the Hedgehog has been known to have some really good music in the games. And if the movie actually used the game's music in some capacity, that would actually be a bit of a big difference in terms of quality, or at least enjoyment. And it's not like this has been done before in game-based movies, and probably the best example is the Silent Hill movie. The first one. I will contest that the atmosphere in that movie is actually pretty good, since it managed to accomplish that eerie and creepy feeling with me simply due to the tracks made by Akira Yamaoka being used in the film. So if we could get something like Live and Learn during the climax of the film, I guarantee a lot of people would actually enjoy that part of the movie a lot more than it should be. So while I do have hopes for the Sonic film and I do praise the team for actually, getting people to talk about it a lot more, I'm not expecting film gold here. But those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. I'm MangaKamen, and remember to examine your fandom. Oh, and as a side note, can we please stop listening to Ego Raptor like he knows how good game design works anymore?